Hello, well, we're back again on TS, where we tell it like it is and let the chips fall where they may. And as we always say, truth crashed to earth shall rise again. And as we always promise, the gendarme is coming in all sizes and shapes and forms. But as we have promised, we shall crush any gendarme with the truth. Okay? And the final question I asked before I start my show is, what time is it? And the answer is nation time, man. Nation time. Well, before I start today, one thing that we must do on this program, and we haven't done because most of our programs were possibly recorded before it happened. I'm talking about the passing of Nana Konadu Agyeman Rollins. It's really a sad loss. You know, and I go by this principle all the time that I don't remember people by how they died, but how they lived. That's my principle all the time. How did they live? And I think, if anything at all, Nana Agyeman Konadu was an exemplary woman. I see her like the likes of Winnie Mandela that was standing behind her husband, Nelson Mandela. Nana Konadu was standing by her husband, John Rollins, you know. And more importantly, I think what I will always remember her for was her passion for empowering women. There was no one like that to empower women, to give women a place to stand, to give women a voice. That's why I started the 31st Women's Movement and all. And we shall always remember her for her stand on how to empower women. And I could do, yes, people politically may have their disagreements, but all of that aside, she's one hell of a strong woman. And I think when it comes to a contribution in terms of creating awareness and the strength of women, it's her. Do you know, there was a time, every time you open your mouth, there was the girl child, and the girl child, and the girl child. She is the one that made that whole concept of paying attention to our daughters when they are young girls, you know, giving them priority. You know. She was the man that brought that whole attention about the importance of paying attention to the girl child. So all I can say is that Nana Konadu, rest in peace, and the people of Ghana salute your contribution. Let me just make my general announcement that I do every day. The night is official. Every Sunday, there's a buffet at Cactus Creek. That starts from 1 p.m. till 6 p.m. There's a live band, there's jamming. It's awesome. So let me see you every Sunday, whether or not I announce it's happening at the Cactus Creek. Okay? All right. So today, you know what I want to look at? And I've said it quite a few times on this program. Listen to this quotation. And it says, there is nothing more dangerous to society than a person with nothing to lose. Remember who you. The quotation is this: so there is nothing, or there is no one more dangerous to society than a person with nothing to lose. I mean, the logic is that, yeah, the person has no education, maybe has no job, has no money, only bibia. So it's like, what the hell is there to lose? If I had to revolt, let me revolt, you know, because for whatever I do, nobody will come and bear my house, my car. I don't have anything. So the adage is that there's nothing more dangerous to society than a person with nothing to lose. And I've been saying it. And it's a statement that people make. But now I'm like, wait a minute. Is that true? Are the most dangerous people in society the person with nothing to lose? I want you to look at this clip very carefully. And then I'll come back to what I'm saying. Take a look at this.
I was having a meeting with some people in town in Lusaka. I said, you know, when I look around, and I look around the cases in town that we have of people that have been charged with cases of corruption, it is not people from the village. It is us. with degrees. The high-profile cases that are in contention in the courts of law, it is not for a villager from Lwingo. It is us that have tested the Manila paper. It is us that have known the figures. It is us that have read Aristotle. It is us that have studied psychology. It is us who have studied the principles of accounts. It is us. And I ask myself a question. If education is producing thieves, why then should we continue to educate them? If the country today is wrestling with the issue of corruption because of people that went to school, the question that begs an answer is, why should we continue to educate? Because it means the more we educate, the more thieves we produce.
Folks, in effect, all he's saying is this, that there is nothing more dangerous to society than people who are educated, who have the intelligence, who are big. They are big time wherever they are. He says they are the most dangerous to society. You heard him. You know why? He says let's take Ghana for example. This man is from somewhere in East Africa. I don't even know him. I just saw it going viral. Let's take Ghana for example. The loot. All the people, the names that have come up in the loot, they are not from the villages. These are high profile people. When we say high profile, we mean very accomplished people. Look at the names. Very accomplished, intelligent people. And look at what they have done to this country. So in effect, this is what the man was talking about too. That the bane of corruption and what we are suffering is that we have too many educated people. I may beg to differ on that point. You know, it is not exactly the fault of education per se. In some angles, yes, but no. Even the most intelligent people right now who are fighting this and who are up against the loot and everything that has gone on, many of them are very intelligent people, folks. They have also gone to school, they have also learned. So I understand where the guy is coming from when he says that the education, the results of education is over intelligence, and which is used for the corruption and things. I can understand him to a level. But honestly, it goes beyond that. One thing that I agree with, folks, is that the saying that nobody is as dangerous to society as a person with nothing to lose is wrong. It's clear here that most of the people that we are talking about now in terms of when it comes to the loot, these are not people that you consider these people, they have nothing to lose. No. Evidently, these are accomplished people, these are educated people, these are wealthy people. And they, my friends, are the most dangerous in society as we speak now. You know, when we talk about the loot, it's very funny that we talk about the loot and all we think is the money, the loot, the money, the loot. No! When this oral thing gets to where it's supposed to go and everything comes out, you realize that it's not just money, land.
Then we've also done an estimate of the state capture, the lands. If we successfully ask people to pay conservative market value for the lands they have looted, again, the experts are telling us that we can recover about 702.8 million United States dollars.
Folks, do you know how much land has been looted? And as the guy was saying, it's not by the villagers that did the looting. These are high-profile politicians, high-profile pastors, high-profile judges, high-profile people in society, judges, pastors, politicians. They have become the crooks that are organizing this loot. That's why I pray that, Charlie Muhammad, this loot thing, I know you said it and you probably thought it was easier to accomplish than you thought, evidently, because no one of us in Ghana here thought that you'd be in office for almost 1 year, and so far nobody has gone into jail with handcuffs on. So Ghanaians have become desperate and frustrated. But according to the AG, there's a system. He's not going to rush and have it backfire in his face. Because as we speak, all those who have been accused of the looting also have their lawyers. They have their lawyers who are also learned people who understand the logic of law, who are going to come to court and ask for adjournment, and ask for postponement, and ask for overrule issues.
Yesterday, I filed a motion for prohibition in the Supreme Court, saying that we are not comfortable that this judge will give us justice. I brought it to the attention of the judge. I also raised an issue that we should adjourn the case and abide the outcome of the application to the Supreme Court.
All to defend these high-profile people. That's what the guy was saying, though. That in order to get to extent and developing dexterity in crime, you must be educated. That's the part he was talking about. Not that education is wrong, but you must be an educated person. Look at this chap at the Signals Bureau. My goodness. All the houses and the bank accounts and how he mixes and shuffles things. At a point, it's even alleged that when he was arrested at the airport, he himself was applauding the BNI and said, "Hey, you were able to track me down, then you did well." Because he's so intelligent. He's educated. He's studied that he knows how to outwit the system. And so has all of them. National Service, what's the give to Owari, that I see big guy, and all those people who allegedly have stolen billions, folks. Look, do you think it's easy to sit down and set up ghost names in the system and have hundreds and thousands of ghost names that are paid every month? No, it takes a level of intelligence, wittiness, dangerous criminal minds to get away with that. So that's what the guy was talking about. So if this is what is going to happen to us with all the education, then maybe why do we educate people? That's why I say I beg to differ. Because even the people fighting them too are educated. But folks, here's the thing. I think for me the most important thing is this. There is nothing more dangerous to society than people who have nothing to lose. Why? Because most of them have become, can I borrow the words of Jerry John Rollins, greedy bastards. It's not for want of money. They have the money. It's not for want of prominence. They have the prominence in society. It's not for the lack of anything. It is greed to acquire more and more. Just the greed. Nothing satisfies them. Info, kings, pastors, politicians. Greed. Greed is what is killing Ghana, and not education. Well, education, the sad part of education is this. I call it the miseducation. You know, most of the times what we go through thing, it becomes a miseducation only because we cannot apply whatever we study. We can't apply it to the context of where we are as a people. In the question, they know, but we don't know how to apply the knowledge to our current situation. We just know the book. Babano, just the book. And that's the results of many of our scholars. Book, you can't touch them. But how do you apply what you study in your book to your conditions. That one we don't worry about. But these criminals, they have studied the accounting systems, they have studied the financial systems, they have studied all the loopholes. And they know that once you give me the power to be head of the National Service Secretariat, once you give me power to be head of the backup stock, once you're giving me power, I understand the financing structures. My school, my senior, and trust me, I didn't study it so I can come and do things that will benefit the country. No, I studied it so I can know the loopholes and see how I can exploit the loopholes to benefit my pocket. That's what the guy was talking about. So folks, there's nothing more dangerous in society than greedy bastards who want more and more and more and more. So folks, as I say every day, and that's why I say I wish Mahama well. Because if Mahama can use this whole oral thing and the loot thing to really prosecute all these learned, educated, rich people who so far they have nothing to lose. If this administration can prosecute them and make Ghanaians see that, hey, Charlie, so they too, all the flaunting and they were doing, none of them were above the law, and the law has finally caught up with them. That will be a change when it comes to resetting. You know, the people must know and feel that there's a law in this country and the law works to the extent that they are protected. And what I like about what the guy was saying, none of these people have come, none of these things has happened because they were villagers who know nothing. Well, some of them were villagers, but they've been educated now. They've been started from the village and go to their village school and ended up in the UK, London, US, high profile schools, and they've studied. So there's nothing more dangerous to society than somebody who has studied so well that they can understand all the loopholes that can be applied to loot the country. And that's what we are facing now. So folks, when I talk about if there's a reset agenda that Mahama is pursuing, this is a perfect place to start. Not the loot, not only in terms of the money, but the land. The land. But what we all fail to realize is this, folks. People are watching. The young generation is watching. They are growing up. And as they grow up, they are growing up in a system where academicians and the brilliant people are looting the country. Do you know why, you name any village, why they don't have hospitals in the village? Do you know why they don't have good drinking water? Simple things like this. It is because the big people who have nothing to lose have looted the money. And so the result is that they will stay where they are. They don't have good drinking water. And what scares me is this, folks. We all pretend that this is business as usual. And sometimes I listen to the society that we live in. A society that's just coming and still recovering from 8 years of loot. Barbaric loot. 8 years of looting not only money, but 8 years of looting land.
Then we've also done an estimate of the state capture, the lands. If we successfully ask people to pay conservative market value for the lands they have looted, again, the experts are telling us that we can recover about 702.8 million United States dollars for the Ghanaian people. That's if we just ask people, those who were paying 42,000 cedis, 120,000 cedis, 160,000 cedis, to pay the fair market value. Those are lands that $500,000, $600,000, you will even struggle to get cantonments land at that figure. So very conservative estimates, we take the view that if people are asked to pay the real market value, this is how much we can retrieve.
By high-profile people. And I can't help but think, you know, that ex-president, His Excellency Akufo-Addo, I mean, what does he go through knowing that all this painful loot happened under his watch? What does he go through? And I don't know what he goes through, but when I see the reaction of some members who are coming from that party, I can realize they think, oh, this is no big deal. Yeah. That seems to be the approach. Where even some angles people hear that this is always an exaggeration. Nothing has been looted like that. Really? This country, and for whatever you think, I think that it is a stroke of divine intervention. That what has happened in the last 8 years didn't continue. No, because it would have just been an extension of the barbaric loot that Wuntumi is an undertaking in our rivers, in our lakes and the gold. It would have just been a continuity. It has gone on. See what happened? It would have continued. Whatever you are saying happened at National Service Secretariat with ghost names, no? Like by now, no? It is 30 more times the effect. It would have continued. Look at NLA. It would have just been continuity. If the 8 had been broken, it would have been a continuity of the barbaric loot, of the senseless, corrupt decadence that we experienced for 8 years. All of a sudden, it was great to find this excuse. Oh, COVID. Whatever you say, oh, but it was the COVID. We were doing very, very well. It was the COVID. They all say it. Honorable, His Excellency, what was it? Honorable, and I said, well, former finance. Oh, it was the COVID that took us back and blah, blah, blah. It was the COVID. Folks, the NPP got more money under COVID in terms of aid and things in the excess of $2 million. That's even small. $2 million was just the Sputnik crisis, one crisis as of it. But everything was covered. Look at the stuff that was happening at the airports. This so-called whoever came from Nigeria to establish a COVID testing crap that just bleeded this country. And that's what the gentleman was talking about too. These are people who know. These are people who are educated.
You know, when I look around, and I look around the cases in town that we have of people that have been charged with cases of corruption, it is not people from the village. It is us with degrees. The high-profile cases that are in contention in the courts of law, it is not for a villager from Lwingo. It is us that have tested the Manila paper. It is us that have known the figures. It is us that have read Aristotle. It is us that have studied psychology. It is us who have studied the principles of accounts. It is us. And I ask myself a question. If education is producing thieves, why then should we continue to educate them? If the country today is wrestling with the issue of corruption because of people that went to school, the question that begs an answer is, why should we continue to educate? Because it means the more we educate, the more thieves we produce.
So I say here today, there's nothing more dangerous to society than the educated, corrupt ones who are greedy bastards.